Ladies and gentlemen, I have truly been looking forward to making this episode here today. It's been a while since the recent changes here inside of Brawl Stars with this most recent December update, but it's nice to finally be able to say that Brawl Stars is in one of its better places fun-wise or just health-wise in a very long time. And I kind of want to go over my thoughts as to why that might be and give you guys a good reason if you've played Brawl Stars in the past to why not try it out again, because people are loving it now, I'm loving it now, and I think it's a very fun game where it is now. Before we get into anything, of course, YouTuber things, I know it's annoying as heck, but make sure to subscribe. We are getting very close to 600,000 subscribers. Don't know what we're gonna do for it, but man, is it a huge number. Still in awe about all the support you guys have been giving me throughout my time here on YouTube. So to kick things off here, I think we can all agree Brawl Stars is a pretty dang old game, and because of that, it's been through a lot of different changes. Brawl Stars as a game in the very beginning, when it first went global, was a very different game than it is right now, and I think the most recent changes to the game has happened out of necessity, and we're seeing the fruits of that finally coming to fruition in this most recent update. I cannot understate just how much of a different game Brawl Stars is now. If we take a look back at the very long history that this game has had, it has been a one specific game for a very long time in terms of progress. Really, the biggest things that have changed is a very long time ago, 3 years ago, we happened to come across a Brawl Pass system, which is very popular throughout a lot of different games out there. But still, the actual real way to progress in this game didn't change, and that is gacha, right? Brawl boxes, whether it's the regular Brawl box, the big Brawl box, or a mega Brawl box. The Brawl Pass was just an introduction to make a very worthwhile purchase on a Brawl Stars player to be able to progress in a very good way. It's really interesting scrolling through the archive of the Brawl Stars videos over here from the very first Brawl Pass season, seeing that we are currently in freaking season 22, almost 23. But with this system, I think we can agree that we've had a lot of ups in the beginning, but of course with any Brawl Pass releasing in seasons, much like we see in a lot of the other Supercell games like Clash Royale, once you start getting into, like, my goodness, season 20, things can get a little bit repetitive if we're just getting the same old things. Scrolling through all the way up here, we can see the really huge popularity of Brawl Stars at a certain point, right? Kind of when the Brawl Pass first was introduced to the game. We're seeing Brawl Talks getting up to the 26 million view mark, which is pretty dang crazy if you really think about it. This one, when Bell was released, 31 million views. Stu's release, 33 million views. But I think we can start seeing that steady decline of interest, seeing that we are dealing with the same exact update system, a new season, a new Brawl Pass, a brawler released on that Brawl Pass. If we're lucky with a significant update, we'll get another brawler on top of that, but it's a rinse and repeat method, right, with the season. Now, I'm not saying that's a lot different than where it is right now currently in the game, but there have been some significant changes to the game to make it feel fresh. Once again, I don't know if that's going to stop feeling fresh in the future, which admittedly and most definitely probably will, but it's nice to know that the dev team can make those pivots where we're at right now. But going forward, we're starting to see that kind of decline with the seasons. We got a 13 million, 12 million, and this is not like a crazy great metric. We'll get into more specific data here from Brawl Stars' popularity, but I suppose, hey, the Brawl Talks going over update content, it's a metric that we can at least go off of. But then we come to somewhat of a boiling point here. Coming off of a few somewhat lackluster updates, I would say we were presented with an update where they introduced gears. And guys, covering Brawl Stars as long as I have, keeping an optimistic feel to my videos, I think I've done that. I've tried to do that, but hey, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when this update came around and being within the community, I could tell this was a very big turning point in a bad direction for Brawl Stars, and some of the updates that would follow, I think, reflected that in the game's popularity. Gears were such a flop in the game, I think it really put a damper on the game's success going forward. Even at this time, we had Brawl Boxes. Everyone to this day with the removal of Brawl Boxes is still complaining sometimes that they miss boxes. But I think from this, the decline really started to go even faster and really made it apparent that changes need to happen. After that update here, the Club League and update, you can see a kind of weird decline, 19 million, 13 million from there. We have a 12 million, and then we make it to the Otis update. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, covering Brawl Stars as a YouTuber, I would say this was some of the most stressful times in my career during the Otis update. For some reason, it stands out to me. Not a lot came out in this update. We are still on the tail end of the gears being added into the game, trying to get used to that implementation, and things were kind of down. Views on YouTube were down, reflecting the popularity in the game itself, and it was a very worrying update. I still remember Otis, and Otis in game is reflected of that bad time for me as well. I don't like Otis. He's a fun brawler, but just the vibes that I get from him, dude, at a time when he was released, it was a scary time. But where things really started turning around, and it wasn't a fast turnaround, but we started seeing a lot coming out of the very next update after the Otis update, where the Brawl Stars dev team started to be very transparent with the community, giving us a roadmap for the future. And let's be honest, the roadmap that they presented in this update was very, very accurate, almost to a T. They gave us pretty much so everything that was coming in the future, and they delivered. It was a lot of stuff, but you know, looking back at this roadmap, it's pretty dang crazy to see what changed from this, right? The removal of boxes here over there, depicting the X marks. We had some semblances of a progression change in the game, and so many more things to look forward to that did come to the game and made a huge impact. Now, once again, this was not a quick turnaround, right? A lot of other things had to fall into place perfectly to get Brawl Stars where it's at today. And let me tell you what, today it's at a spot where it's almost never been before in terms of popularity. We come across the Gears rework update when Buster was released. Views and stuff like that on YouTube still kind of down. Brawl Stars still kind of in a rough spot, but very hopeful the Brawl Stars community was because of this roadmap that the Brawl Stars dev team gave us. And since then, and honestly, since the creation of Brawl Stars, the Brawl Stars dev team has been insanely receptive to the community's input, feedback. Though it can be harsh sometimes, they really take in what's needed and make adjustments to the game, which is honestly what I think sets apart Brawl Stars from the rest of the Supercell games in a big way, right? But guys, then we come across the bye-bye boxes. Oh boy. Still, again, one of the more controversial updates, in my opinion, in Brawl Stars history. When this first came out, I was both worried and excited at the same exact time. Excited for the opportunity to investigate an Omega box, right? I think sending the boxes off on a big bang was a really exciting event, but the whole notion of boxes no longer being in the game was worrying. But little did we know, this would single-handedly be one of the best decisions that the Brawl Stars dev team would ever make for the game's future and where we're at now, technically, inside of Brawl Stars. Moving along to the next update that we got here around this time last year, the Candyland update, we were implemented a brand new progression system, right? The Starr Road and everything that came with it. Now, at this point, I wouldn't say Brawl Stars was perfect, but it was starting to lay down the groundwork that would be essential to where we're at now currently in one of the most popular versions of Brawl Stars to this date. And that is an unrestricted progression system, in my opinion, not really banking on luck or chance. Gotcha, right? Opening up brawl boxes, hoping to get lucky to get those brawlers that you do not have. Look, I know boxes back in the day was one of the most enjoyable ways to progress in Brawl Stars. Nothing will replace that feeling of getting lucky and pulling a legendary brawler out of a brawl box, seeing that flashing glowing button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, pulling something sick. It was a great feeling and I'm going to forever miss it, but the system that we had now replaced so many of the negative things from the boxes with the Starr Road, the tokens. Being able to pick and choose your progression feels so much better. Being able to control things, though we're not getting that flashing thing in the bottom right hand corner, trust me, is so much more healthy for the mental. I mean, for goodness sakes, I couldn't count how many times I saw people complaining about not having any legendary brawlers or only having like one legendary brawler playing the game for like 3 years. Where now it's a very streamlined process. The legendary brawlers aren't so crazy to get nowadays, and it seems like you can really choose the brawlers that you want and how you want to progress in the game with the features that are now at hand. Now, it's important to point out that the groundwork is just now getting put down, right? It's gonna take a lot of effort to replace boxes. You can't just implement the Starr Road and say, hey, brawl boxes willy-nilly, it's done, people will be fine. Because really, truly, the popularity of Brawl Stars didn't bounce back just because of the Starr Road and the new progression system. I mean, for goodness sakes, I would say the updates that would follow with this new progression system on the Starr Road were bangers. Dude, every single update that would follow the Starr Road update, I would say were A+ updates, in my opinion, from a seasoned Brawl Stars player. The very next update that we got were Masteries. One of the coolest endgame features inside of Brawl Stars that I think we can all agree is such a fun feature. Not only is it a phenomenal way to progress for free-to-play players in this game, you put in the effort, you grind up on a certain brawler, you get rewarded for that effort, right? It's a good way to progress. But on top of that, it is phenomenal for those accomplishment people who like to play this game and feel rewarded by putting in that effort, right? So kind of the more end game vibes, and that is mastering brawlers. It takes quite a long time to get to these end game cosmetic items, but it is such a good feeling of accomplishment being able to flex that gold 3 going into a game. To this day, I see a gold 3 brawler, I know that person has played a lot with that brawler and they're probably pretty good. It's an awesome feeling and it has so much depth. Masteries are one of the coolest implementations in Brawl Stars by far, and it is still paying dividends all the way to this point in time. Next update, we got Bling. 7 million views on this Brawl Talk. One of the coolest implementations again for free-to-play players. So this is 3 banger updates in a row. I would say the views don't reflect how cool this update was as well. The skins were insane. The theme was awesome. Rarity of skins, the catalog that was implemented, and a currency in Bling where free-to-play players can utilize that currency, getting it for free to unlock cosmetics in the game. You never really see this a lot in games like this, mobile games in particular, and now seeing a lot in like PC games and console games adopting like a Brawl Pass feature or a Battle Pass, whatever you'd like to call it. Games out there rely a lot on cosmetics for raking in an income, right? Making a lot of money. It's the skins that do a lot of that work. So game flat out allowing people to accumulate Bling, a currency to get these cosmetics for free, is pretty dang mind-bending. And I'm not gonna lie, I know I'm kind of in the minority here when it comes to like collecting skins and stuff like that, trying to collect a lot of them, but there's a lot of free-to-play players out there that are super content with just having a few skins for their favorite brawlers, right? Just like that one skin that really represents them, and that's what Bling is great for, right? And then finally, probably the most impactful thing to be added to the game, the real kicker to get us back to where we are here in popularity to this day. Brawl boxes are back? Well, no. But we did get Star Drops, ladies and gentlemen. Star Drops, one of the most impactful features, I would say, that was added to making Brawl Stars the popular version it is now today. It's something about feeling lucky, and I gotta say, the Brawl Stars dev team really skirted around the implementation of Star Drops in such a fun, unique way that isn't damaging to a player in a gotcha sense, but just a redistribution of progression and the allocation of free progression in this game, going just in a different fashion to make it feel a little bit more rewarding, and that is in Star Drops. To put it simply, maybe if you guys are newer to Brawl Stars, all Star Drops are, and when they implement it, is taking resources away from different ways that we could progress in Brawl Stars, whether that was like Club League, the bonus rewards at an end of a Brawl Pass, and so many other areas in the game just kind of getting nerfed on how much progression we could get from those areas were distributed into this really fun package of a Star Drop. Now we could argue until we go blue in the face whether or not like Star Drops are truly fun, or the cosmetics that we get from Star Drops, sometimes people just want progression, but something about Star Drops really made a change for people. I think having control in Brawl Stars is really important. Being able to progress the way that you would like to is really important, but sometimes that feeling of getting lucky, or that feeling of chance, but a chance that isn't harmful, is really important for people, right? There's no better feeling than unlocking a legendary Star Drop and getting a legendary brawler out of that, or a brawler that you are currently working towards, getting that brawler for free, or my personal favorite, getting a Hypercharge. Knowing that you got 5,000 free coins from a Star Drop is insane. It's a crazy value, and that feeling stays with you. That chance of getting lucky, of really optimal progression, is a really fun implementation into this game. Just from reallocating different ways to progress to that Star Drop system. Such an ingenious way to pump back popularity into Brawl Stars that I adore. But then moving along to the very next update, we have Hypercharge. Now, Hypercharge, another somewhat controversial update, I would say. Bro, I was incredibly hyped up over this update, but I honestly understand the grievances that individuals had inside the community, especially with only a handful of Hypercharged released on its release date. It was such a broken ability, these Hypercharges, that it made the brawlers who had the Hypercharges incredibly broken in the game, and it felt kind of pay to win, seeing that they are 5,000 coins. You get the Hypercharge for those brawlers if you spend the gems, and they were busted, absolutely busted. And not gonna lie, the very first couple Hypercharges that were added to the game weren't that unique or interesting. Kind of the whole approach that it felt like the dev team was going for Hypercharges was like, just make the super do more stuff. And especially the thing that was the most controversial were the stat increases. A lot of pro players didn't love the speed increase, the damage increase, the shield increase, seeing that it just felt like you push a button, you win the game. But as time went on and more Hypercharges were added to the game, I would say people started to kinda enjoy the Hypercharges. Now, I'm not sure if everyone is still 100% sold on the Hypercharge feature inside of this game, especially the higher ended players, like actual pros going to the World Finals. But I do know this, Hypercharge is incredibly successful when it comes to the medium range player. There's this sense of fun that you get with Hypercharges that maybe someone who isn't like crazy dedicated to Brawl Stars, who finds themselves as an actual good Brawl Stars player, has that sense of weight in those games. You get a Hypercharge, you can do a lot with that Hypercharge if you are smart with it. Look, some of them aren't like crazy balanced or crazy good just yet, but that can take time. I mean, for goodness sakes, Miko's Hypercharge isn't that great. I think it's pretty dang bad. But some of them are so dang cool, much like Rosa's here, not just being super, bigger, better, actually having mechanics that complement the super and are unique, a slowing radius around Rosa that makes her as a character so much better, right? Just feels better than bigger is better. And dude, I was also worried about Hypercharges when they first were released, but I was honestly reassured during the Brawl Stars World Finals this year. As much as I hear the pro players sometimes say that they don't enjoy the Hypercharges in the game, it was beautiful seeing how these pro players utilize them in game. It made esports feel so much cooler, in my opinion. Just seeing how a feature like this is being piloted by these amazing players in the game was so much fun to see, and that's where my kind of opinion on Hypercharges was really set in stone. I like Hypercharges, and I'm excited for them moving forward into the future. After the Hypercharges, we got the Mega Pig update, which is still kind of in contention, if you ask me. The Mega Pig isn't amazing, and you can tell they definitely took away some of the resources that a feature that the Mega Pig replaced, Club League, and allocated the resources that we got from Club League to other places, much like the star drops. Now, even with the Mega Pig not giving as much resources as Club League used to, I still think it was a phenomenal way to replace Club League, right? A once a month feature. We don't have to approach it with so much stress and anxiety, right? A lot of the time with Club League back in the day, it was a lot of work for your progression, to the point where a lot of people missed out on so much progression in this game just because they weren't in a club or participating in Club League, which is a huge problem. So making sure to allocate the resources that we got from Club League in the past to other avenues, much like star drops, and replacing Club League with a thing like Mega Pig, an event that only comes around once a month, I think is exceptional, making sure that a lot of players can utilize every resource of progression and every avenue of progression in the game really easily, not missing out on things much like Club League in the past. Not only that, just in this most recent update, they made Club League even easier, requiring less tickets to utilize, and I believe something else. I can't really find it in the patch notes, but just in general, they made the Mega Pig event much easier here, right? So it makes getting all the available resources inside of Brawl Stars for free-to-play players or anyone here in this game to progress as fast as possible much easier than before. But then that brings us to our current state in Brawl Stars, the most recent update, and my goodness was it a big one. And I don't want to say this lightly, the Brawl Stars dev team truly knocked this update out of the park in so many different areas. Leading up until this point, we've had a lot of groundwork here, laying down this new system inside of Brawl Stars, right? Almost as if most of the updates since the removal of boxes was just like a build up to something huge, where we're adding new features to accommodate the somewhat boredom of not having brawl boxes like Masteries, endgame content. We got Bling for free-to-play players, progression. We got star drops added to the game, and even additions to gameplay content, right, with Hypercharge. It all amounted to this crazy introduction of the new system to the Brawl Pass, which still a little bit controversial, but I think it is phenomenal. As a free-to-play player, you are getting more progression than what you had before. I know the argument still stands where people who choose to pay, right, in the game, they're going to progress faster, which a lot of the time happens in most games. But it's nice to know that the dev team didn't hurt free-to-play progression. They actually made it better with the free pass, right? But the thing that I really enjoy about the Brawl Pass is the duration. I know, again, this is kind of something that is hard to get used to, but what a 1 month season duration of a Brawl Pass basically means is just more frequent update content, the game not feeling as stale a lot of the time. And I think that's huge. Every month, something significant happening in Brawl Stars, whether that's new adaptations to the game, that's going to be new hypercharges coming to the game, new themes, new game modes. It really allows a lot of new fun and exciting content coming in more frequently to Brawl Stars, which I think is going to add to the popularity of this game staying consistent for a while. But on top of that, dude, outside of the Brawl Pass, just looking at this last update in a bigger perspective, we had things much like win streaks being added to Brawl Stars, a phenomenal addition, honestly probably my favorite addition to this game in a long time, and definitely in this most recent update. Win streaks are so good. 5v5 was added to the game, something that the community has been asking for forever now, and I gotta say the dev team knocked it out of the park. 5v5 is something that I literally look forward to every single weekend, and once the weekend's over, I'm sad again that it's out of the game. 5v5 is so much freaking fun outside of some of the issues that's in it, right? Broken brawlers, much like Fang, but that can be tweaked with balances, right? Either way, it's a fun freaking game mode. Star drops, in my opinion, are still feeling insanely fun, and the dev team is insanely generous with star drops, getting challenges where we can get all these star drops completely free. And I didn't even know this at the time, the 9th star drop in this challenge is a free legendary star drop, bro. You don't know how many people I got in the messages of my most recent episode here on the channel saying that they got a free legendary brawler just from a challenge that's free. You can get these all for free. Brawl Stars is just feeling good right now with a very bright future ahead of it, with the impact of frequent updates moving forward, a lot of interesting brawlers just being released in Miko, Kit, Larry, and Lori coming out here in a little bit, seeming to be really exciting as well. And that is what has made Brawl Stars' Google trends, the amount of times Brawl Stars is searched on Google, look like this today. Brawl Stars' peak popularity was back in the day, May of 2020. And seriously, about a year ago, I thought we would never ever be able to get back to this popularity. We kept seeing downward trends, which tends to happen in an older game, right? Especially with the removal of boxes and all the updates that would then follow. Really made it nerve-wracking, to say the least. But where we're at now currently is at a high point. January of 2024 is Brawl Stars' peak right now, beating out the popularity, at least on Google Trends, from its previous most popular point in Brawl Stars history of May 2020. Brawl Stars is more popular today than it was 4 years ago, which is insane. That doesn't happen a lot in video games, especially in mobile games, which people tend to come and go. And seeing graphs much like this really, again, paints a beautiful picture as to where Brawl Stars is right now, and why, hey, if you haven't played the game in a while, it might be worth your while to come back and try it out for yourselves. Taking a look at a Google Trends as well for Brawl Stars, Clash of Clans, and Clash Royale, you can see Brawl Stars is in a much better state in terms of popularity compared to the other two games. I'm not saying the other two games aren't popular in their own rights. They have a massive player base, but where Brawl Stars is trending, it's far in a big way exceeding that popularity right now, and I think it's worth your while trying it out. It's for a good reason. Brawl Stars right now feels amazing. It's a very fun game with a really great dev team and a really bright future with the newest additions, with fun content coming out frequently, and so much more to look forward to. And that is why Brawl Stars is as popular as it's ever been today. Super cool, man, as a Brawl Stars fan. And I think it's something that we should all be happy about, that's for sure. But yeah, everyone, I wanted to make this video for you all. I see a lot of videos out there kind of saying, what's wrong with Brawl Stars? Why is Brawl Stars declining? Well, it's not. Brawl Stars is in a very good spot, and I cannot wait for the bright future ahead of it. So yeah, everyone, hope you all found this video helpful or interesting, anything like that. If you did, make sure to slap a like on it. I really appreciate that. We'll be talking super soon. Adios and take care.